This is the thumbnail for an upcoming live stream that Jay Dreamers is going to do about the mutants and the mutations that happen when the sun goes into flux. I guarantee he'll say the word flux more than once. And I tried to get him the message that Poppy did a music video titled Flux, where it explicitly shows the sun going into flux and all the mutations that happen thereafter. That it's like a Jay Dreamer's Truth in Music presentation without any need for a decode or a breakdown. Only necessary to understand the theme, the basic underlying premise that the sun puts out a lot of radiation and it starts to create mutations, and then the music video makes sense and they leverage one another. Each one of them supports the other and validates the storyline. If it weren't for Jay Dreamer's information that he's put forth, I wouldn't be able to watch that music video of Poppy's and know what it's depicting and what it's showing. And Mr. MB3 used to show the UV readings. In 2018 and 19, he was showing UV readings on a regular basis using his own instrument of measurement. He'd go outside, point it at the sun, and show you the readings. And every time there was UVC, he would show you the reading and say it should always be 0 at ground level other than in the Arctic regions, where the magnetic field collapses back in onto the Earth, which is the same reason that you see northern lights up there. Because there is no magnetic field holding the northern lights out. That's the same reason you get UVC readings in the Arctic Circle at ground level, because there's no magnetic field holding the solar radiation out. And for a couple of years, Mr. MB3 showed us the UV readings. And every time he would say, and UVC, show you the measurement, should always be 0 at ground level other than in the Arctic. That was in 2018, 2019. In 2020, 21, and 22, he started showing us the mutations of plants. Tomatoes with green shoots coming right out of the tomato, like the seeds inside of the tomato are sprouting from within the tomato while it's still on the vine. Same thing with strawberries, with green shoots coming right out of the strawberry. The seeds in the strawberry are sprouting while on the vine. Same thing with sunflowers, sunflowers with multiple heads. On the head of the sunflower, where you're supposed to see just the sunflower seeds in the middle, bunch of green shoots coming out, and it's got multiple heads sprouting out of the center of the main head, showing us clovers. You know, 4-leaf clover is supposed to be lucky because they're so rare that if you find one, it's real lucky, because most of them are just 3-leaf clovers. He was showing us 5 and 6 and 7-leaf clovers the size of your palm that people were sending him videos of. And not just one here, one there. They were pointing the camera at the ground, showing you that the clovers are still planted in the ground and going, there's one, there's one, there's one. They didn't gather them from across a couple square miles and bring them all together and show you 5 or 6. They were pointing the camera at the ground and showing you they're everywhere. Multiple clovers with 5 and 6 and 7 leaves the size of your palm. He was showing us vines like peas that were all fused together. He's shown us at least 15 different mutations. Bell peppers with holes burned in them. My point is, we've already begun to see the mutations that happen when the sun goes into flux during the plasma apocalypse. Plasma apocalypse is underway. And if you know, then you know. And Poppy, I've referenced and highlighted and showcased 4 or 5 or 6 of her music videos. She is definitely part of a secret society putting out esoteric occult information. She includes the black and white checkerboard abundantly in her music. She was homeschooled. She's clearly well versed in the esoteric, and what she is showing you here in this music video Flux is the same exact thing Jay Dreamers is going to break down. So I'll put the link in the description to his upcoming live stream for a crash course in what's happening around us right now regarding the sun going into flux. It's not something that's going to happen in the future. It's something that's already been happening for years. And plasma fire is an extension of that. It is also a symptom of the same process. And the reason Jay Dreamers doesn't cover it, I just watched the movie Don't Look Up, where the premise of the movie was an incoming comet that's going to hit the Earth. And the people that ran their mouth and incited a public riot by telling the people what's happening, they got a bag put over their head and had to take them off grid and be silenced. Surprising they haven't put a bag over my head and taken me off grid, but it's understandable why Jay Dreamers doesn't talk about plasma fire. Okay, so this is going to be coverage of this music video titled Flux by Poppy in relation to what just happened. And by that I mean these are images put out by Mr. MBB3 today. Today is Saturday, like the 10th or 11th. By the way, James True predicted Project Bluebeam on the 14th. We'll have to go give him some shit about that on the 15th. But that's a totally another video. So these are images from Mr. MBB333 video that he put out today. Maybe I'll include the link in the description, but y'all know how to get there. Y'all know where he is. You're the only ones I'm talking to anyway. If you don't, well then you're probably at the wrong saloon, partner. So you can see in this music video Flux, the sun pukes rainbows at the earth, and it's talking about when the sun goes into flux. Here you can see literally the edge of the projectile vomiting right here, where the sun is puking rainbows at us. Okay? So that's what this is. The sun's totally puking rainbows at us today. So it's the perfect day to go over the music video Flux by Poppy. The only reason I included this one is because I saw something like this here in Utah on Sunday night, and then again on like Thursday night. So all within the last week, I've seen auroras here in Utah twice in the last week, but they were mild, kind of like that. One was just a glowing red cloud. The other one was more green on the horizon with a glowing red cloud. So the music video Flux by Poppy starts out with this image, and it looks a lot like the Aurora Borealis neon green look. And then you can see the sun come into view. That's the sun cruising night sky. I meant the moon. I misspoke. That was the moon. And it's in the setting of something like Candyland. And here comes the sun. Here comes the sun. And you can see it's got a little drool on its mouth. And then it coughs at us a couple times. And that's what we're experiencing right now, is the couple of coughs. Okay, there it coughs at us once. And now it's about to burp at us again. It's looking at us. It's like, okay, okay. Coughs at us again. Okay, okay. And now it's about to heave total big, full projectile vomiting of puking rainbows at us. Right? And this is the projectile vomiting hitting the ground. That's literally the picture I just showed you from Mr. MB3, where you can see the edge of the projectile vomiting here, just like I delineated in the previous image. And as you go through this music video, it's showing you the genetic mutations. Mr. MB3 used to show the UV readings during 2018 and 2019, and then during 2020, 21, 22-ish era, he started showing you genetic mutations of sunflowers and strawberries and tomatoes and peas and clovers. Instead, you know how a four-leaf clover is supposed to be lucky because they're so rare that if you find one, you're super lucky? He was showing you 5- and 6-leaf clovers the size of your palm, and not just one here and one there, not some that someone had collected after walking multi-square miles. They're pointing the camera at the ground. showing you these things still in the ground, saying, look, here's a 6-leaf clover, there's a 6-leaf clover, here's another one over here, here's another one over here, all in the same spot, the size of your palm. Genetic mutations unlike anything we've ever seen. Apparently the plant life more easily shows these genetic mutations from the increased radiation that he was showing. When he would show UV readings, he would show you the UV A and B, which is extreme, even in winter. And then he would show you UVC, and he would always say it's supposed to be 0 at ground level, other than in the Arctic Circle, where the magnetic field curves back in on the Earth and there's no magnetic shield holding out that UVC. But everywhere else on the Earth, UVC is always supposed to be 0 at ground level, while he's showing you UVC readings at ground level in his backyard, showing you him pointing this UV reader at the sun. He's showing you the unit that he's using to catch the readings with, not just giving you a screen printout or something. I'm not sure which direction I'm going here. Oh yeah, okay, there's the puking. So we've got all the genetic mutations in a weird looking, bizarre Candyland looking world. We got this bat over here with a big mouth. And J-Dreamers, I should probably put his name in the title here, at J-Dreamers, so he gets a notification that someone mentioned you. Because this is perfect material for his Truth in Music series. And he talks about the sun going into flux all the time. That's literally the name of this music video, is Flux. And it shows you the sun puking rainbows. This mutated creature right here is like what J-Dreamers has depicted and shown has been depicted throughout history as the Blimies. A group of people who had their face in their chest. They don't have a head on top of their shoulders. They have a face embedded in their chest. Blimies, face embedded in the chest. A group of people who had their face in their chest. They don't have a head on top of their shoulders. They have a face embedded in their chest. Like it started out as a genetic mutation, but then they reproduced and created a whole lineage of creatures that have arms and legs and a face in their chest rather than a head on top of their shoulders. The Blimies. There's many other genetic mutations that it's depicting as it goes throughout this bizarro looking world that is created during the flux, when the sun goes into flux and the earth goes into flux and everything gets all out of whack. She walks up and tries to pet this little rabbit here, this cute looking little rabbit. And then it grows into this bizarro creature, mutates, starts trying to bite her. You can see the eyeballs everywhere. Just about everything's got eyeballs in this. Those little crystals that are trying to poke her, that might be representative of the like static electricity. J-Dreamer says you don't want to touch anything metal. You touch it with a metal rod, and you throw the metal rod at it to try and discharge the electricity from it, because we live in an energized atmosphere and environment. After the magnetic field kind of collapses and we get charged by all this radiation and mutations are happening right and left. And so that's why I mentioned Mr. MB3 showing you the mutations over the last few years. He don't show you the UV readings or the mutations anymore, though I'm sure he still gets videos and images and pictures sent to him. Maybe that was just a limited time offer while supplies last for those that are paying attention, and you know what time it is, because we're already seeing the mutations, and a couple of years previous he was showing you the UV readings, and so if you didn't catch that while it was available, well then I guess that's just tough luck. You can see the flower in the background. Like J-Dreamer says, even vines will grow so fast, like in the movies where the vines will reach out and grab your leg and wrap around your leg. The plant life will be energized and growing in such a way it'll seem like it's alive, like it's literally living, like it can reach out with a tentacle and grab you. This is a mutated wolf with some extra eyes and an eye in the middle of the forehead and maybe even some foliage on it. This is a bloated looking hippo thing, and it's got that pink color, and that's what J-Dreamers depicts as phantazoids, these bizarre looking creatures of all shapes and sizes. Some of them are humanoid, some of them are more like animals, and they all have this pinkish hue to them, more like a white sheen, like a pearlescent sheen, like a pearl. They got the tentacles reaching out of the rocks. Some of these rocks are like biological and just rocks, and everything's got eyeballs, and it's depicting the mutations. Look at this thing down here with a shell with some arms and legs reaching out of it. He makes a showing again, and she's trying not to step on the little creatures, but this one gets it anyway. This little thing down here with legs and a Pac-Man head, and she stomps on it accidentally. She's trying to miss the little creatures. She really is trying to not to step on them. But she accidentally steps on that one, and she's cruising through the bizarro world like Candyland. After all the genetic mutations, things are so energized and charged, and everything is alive. The plants, the rocks, the mutating wolves that are mutating into all sorts of different shapes and varieties and images and figures that are just beyond comprehension. See, here you got another one of these shells with some arms and legs sticking out of it. You got the tentacles sticking out of the rock. Another tentacle rock creature over there. Eyeballs everywhere. She goes into cartoon form, and there's a humanoid over there to her left that's kind of like her. Should probably stop and talk. There's more sun imagery. The sun puking more radiation at us. There's another blimey in the middle. And there's three of those little creatures. One with the shell and the arms. There's one there. Oh, there's one there. There's one over here. There's one down here. So those are apparently a thing after the plasma apocalypse and the sun goes into flux. Another blimey over there on top of the rocks. Got little creatures coming out of every corner. And that was the official music video, Flux, by Poppy. Now let's check out some of the lyrics. So the link will be in the description for that official music video we just went over, and for this lyric video, which is showing the sun. And this filament that's going from the mouth up into the eye. You can see this right here. In the music video, it's kind of animated and moving, and that looks exactly like what we see on the sun. Oh, and by the way, this whole thing is the sun. There's a oh, come on, work with me. There's a circle that kind of goes around right here. This is depicting the sun. This circle right here. And this filament right here is literally what we actually see on the surface of the sun. A plasma filament kind of bends up, and then sometimes it bursts, and then you can see it go back into the sun. That's depicting a filament on the sun. Absolutely no doubt about it, going from the mouth to the eyeball. So this is our sun with the radical colors, just like we saw on Mr. MB3 today from a couple of burps and that it sent our direction. My body is fluid because I've never been through it all. Chewed up and used, it's cut into pieces to feed them all. For your amusement, for your confusion, I guess I'll do it because I'm bored. And no attention span is shorter than mine or yours. That's what Jay Dreamers refers to when he talks about ancient oblivion, because these things have happened all through the past. It's a cyclical reset, a cataclysm that happens over and over, but humanity forgets about it because our attention span is so short. That's why he calls it ancient oblivion. We don't remember the time when this happened before and before and before that. And that's the meaning of no attention span is shorter than mine or yours. You can't oppose it. That's just how it goes, yeah. You gotta flux and flow with it. Require no permission, just ask for forgiveness. There's no second guessing. I'm just a possession for your amusement. For your confusion, I guess I'll do it 'cause I'm bored. And no attention span is shorter than mine or yours. I won't fear what I don't know. You gotta flux and flow, flow, flow. And then she screams it. That's why it's in super caps. Yeah, I won't fear what I don't know. You gotta flux and flow, flow, flow. And then we get back into the back to where we started. This is the rainbow projectile vomiting of the sun at the earth that is depicted in the music video Flux by Poppy. And I've heard Jay Dreamers use the word flux at least 100 times, if not 200 or 300 or 400 times. The word flux. He probably says it in just about every episode 10 times. And so the name of that video being Flux means, hey, Jay Dreamers, you got to do a truth in music breakdown of that music video. It's not just truth in music, it's your truth in music. The very truth that you depict on your regular show, breaking down the plasma apocalypse, talking about how the sun goes into flux and everything else goes into flux. And that's about it for this presentation. These are just a few images from Mr. MB3. He probably showed 30 or 40 images similar to these. I just picked a few of the brightest, most vivid ones for the demonstration. I really like this one because you can see the edge of the projectile vomiting right there from the sun. You see the similarities, don't you? Huh? Yeah?